For this assignment, you're going to be required to build a hand using a technique called box modeling. Now, I've got my perspective window here, and I'm going to start off with the overall shape of the palm of the hand. Now, obviously, it's not going to be a cube, and this is actually my starting point, a sphere. If you want to have this display with the lines, you go to Display, Gaussian Shading Lines, and you get this display. But you can already see it's got way too many segments. For box modeling, you start with a low number of segments, a low number of polygons. So I'm going to change the number of segments here, and I'm going to put it down to 9, which makes it really rough. And I still have these poles at the top, at the bottom of my object, which is bugging me. So I'm going to change the type of sphere to a hexahedron. Now, a hexahedron is basically a blown up cube. If you have a cube and you blow it up like a balloon, you have the 6 sides with a corner on each side, and you basically get this shape. Now, this is a great starting point for box modeling a hand. Now, first of all, we have to make this an editable object. So you either hit the C button or you hit this Make Editable button. And let's make this nice and tidy from the start. So I'll call it hand. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to model the hand upwards. So in the front view, F4, I'm going to see the hands and the fingers extending here and the thumb here or here. Doesn't really matter whether it's the left hand or the right hand, but I'm just going to start it from here. And that means I have to squish it over the Z. Now you can use the T button to get the short key for scaling, or just hit the command up here. Now, something like this. So you get this flat sort of round shape. Right, now if I go to the front view, F4, I basically have at the top side here, I have 4 polygons here and a polygon here, and those are going to be the extensions of the thumb and the fingers. Right, so returning to perspective view, I'm just going to start with making a few adjustments. And of course, when I want to extend anything in polygon mode, I need to go to polygon mode. So let's see, I've got polygon mode, and let's check my live selection settings. Only select visible elements is on, so that means that I don't select through the object on the other side, but just what I can see from my perspective view or orthographic view, depends on what you're doing. I'm just going to select these polygons here. These are going to be the fingers. Now, they're not square. I don't really like that, so I'm just going to return to model mode and just going to extend them a little bit like this. I'm going to adjust that later. So I'm going to go back to polygon mode, and you see that my selection is still safe. And now I'm going to use these tools. Most of the tools I'm using are in Mash Create Tools. And one of the tools, and you're going to be using that a lot, is the extrude. But you can already see that the shortcut is the D key on your keyboard. So I'm just going to hit D. I'm going to get rid of this menu now, but just to show you how to put the menu into your viewport, I'm just going to hit D, and then I get this menu of the tool that I'm using. Now, first of all, these settings, you can actually set them numerically, and you can use them interactively. Now, what I'm going to do is make the start of the fingers. I'm not going to pull the fingers out like this. I just clicked and dragged, by the way. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do it very, very briefly. Click and drag like this. Just make the start of the fingers. But what you can see is that all these polygons are blended together. Now, that's because the software is trying to keep the polygon selection together as a default. Can you basically shut that down? Shut it off? Yes. It's right here. Now, if I don't do anything else, I can just hit this little tag, preserve group, and now it will extrude the polygons individually. So I got 4 extensions now, and some of them are bigger than others. I'm going to do something to that individually, but this is a good start. I could have actually extruded the thumb from the word go as well, but I'm not going to do that. So I got this, and let's start with the middle finger. You want this 4-sided polygon. You want it to be square, because basically we're going to round things off. And if it's rectangular, it's going to be like an oval shape, and you want to have it round. So what I'm going to do is just select this and hit the T key again, and then just by hand make this into roughly a square. Well, this looks pretty square to me. Now you hit the D key again, and we're just gonna click and drag, and for this digit we're gonna make the first part like so, and there's actually a hinge between the parts of the finger, so I'm just gonna add some more segments, add some more subdivisions, so that we can actually bend these fingers later on. So I'm just going to do 2 short extrusions like this, and I'm just going to click and drag again like this, and then make a longer extension. And what we're doing is we're just taking the original polygon and just dragging it out and creating all new polygons at the edges. So like this, and we got 3 digits, and I'm just gonna put 1 more extension on top like this. Don't add too many subdivisions. You can add subdivisions later on, and actually taking out subdivisions is way harder. So this is actually a pretty good one. Now, I'm not giving you the finger here. I'm just starting with the middle finger, okay? So that's what you're going to do with the other polygons. Let's say zoom in, and just going to look over it. See, here it's actually a parallelogram. Let's just take this edge. I went to edge mode here, and I just scale this so that at least it's a rectangle. And then I'm gonna take the scale tool and scale it over here. You see, I'm turning the camera constantly just to get the proper view so that I don't make a mistake. So now I'm gonna hit the D and do exactly the same thing as I did last time with the first finger. And then extend it. So it's basically click and drag. And I'm just gonna get in the rough shape of fingers. Now, to make sure that I'm doing the right thing, just switching over to the front view, F4, and just hit H. Now, this finger is going to be slightly narrower, and it's actually a little bit too long, but we're going to edit that later on. First, just build up the fingers, and with the thumb, it's pretty easy. You basically start from here, but the thumb, if you look at your thumb, where it starts from the hand, it's actually pretty wide. So I'm not going to change this into a square. I'm just going to hit the D again and just going to extrude it. And with the thumb, it's a little bit tricky because it's not on a straight angle onto the hand. So I'm just going to rotate a little bit like this and slightly like this. So it goes inward like that. And then I'm going to extrude it again and just scale it, hit the T, and make it more square now. And extend the thumb with the D again. Make this a hinge, so I'm using 2 subdivisions, and do the last one. Now this is going to be really rough, but that's okay. You may notice that every single time when I've made an extrusion, it follows the z-axis. There's actually a so-called normal on top of the polygons, and it points at a straight angle with the surface. What does it mean? Basically, it's a 90-degree angle, and that's the direction of where the polygon will be extruded. So basically, you can aim it if you rotate the polygon. Now we're going to do lots more stuff to the hand before it actually starts looking like something, but don't go into the details right away. Just make the rough shape first and then go into the details.